Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Locked On Seminoles. Today we're going to try to make sense of this baseball team. Is Mike Martin responsible for the success, but not so much the failure? I don't know. You tell us. And then we're going to talk about a big-time ACC transfer going to another ACC foe. And we're going to do another schedule run through because it's that time of May, I guess. We haven't done one this month, so we're going to run through the schedule and we're going to share some cautious optimism with you while reminding you that we are on a razor's edge and things can be very unpredictable during a Florida State football season. I'm your host, Max. That's Dave. Let's dive in.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Locked On Seminoles. I'm your host, Max. That's my buddy, Dave. And we are fans first. We are people second. We are your favorite daily Florida State sports podcasters third. Although now we're on video so much, I don't know if podcast is the appropriate title. We alternate between that and show, but
podcast.
Dave, it's been a while, man. Thanks for joining me. I know you've been busy up in the state of New York. You've been applying for mortgages. You've been looking at homes and all of the things that adults do. If people check my Instagram story today, I have officially grown grass.
Wow.
Like the kind you've always been allowed to grow.
Right. Yes.
Out in my front yard. Just literally, there's no metaphor there. It's just regular. I've grown Bermuda grass. I put a lot of work into it.
Excellent.
And now I'm just watching grass grow. So anyway, folks, if you are on YouTube and you are not watching grass grow, you're watching us instead, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you like this individual video. And leave us a comment. Let us know you're out there. Let us know your thoughts. We love to read them. We love to respond to them. Let's see. Right now, we got Khalil. You were absolutely right. Yesterday, we said that Brewster was one of two coaches that Jimbo took with him. Damian Craig was the other one. Good piece of trivia. Charles Kelly went with Pruitt to Tennessee. And then Bama since 19, although I think he took a demotion to go to Tennessee. I think he went in as a cornerbacks coach.
Arguably any job at Tennessee is a demotion.
That's a fair point, but good piece of trivia there. We hate to report, though, we will be very unlikely to get Coach Brewster, the former tight ends coach, who it was talked about would come in for a front of house role. What are we, a restaurant? Would come work in the front office, do recruiting stuff. Is what it is. But Dave, I know there's another sport you want to talk about. You want to talk some baseball. We talked some baseball yesterday, and as it sits right now, maybe we'll have an update by the end of the show. We are currently, what is the score? Let me get
all
my
tied, 5 up.
All right. Floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Yeah. So FSU baseball, man, it's I thought this would be this is the year of all years. We've always had, it seems like, a pitcher, going back to when we had Sean Gilmartin or Mike McGee starting. We always had one starter who was the guy. This year we have a couple horses. We arguably had the best 1-2 punch in the country, not just the ACC, the country. As of right now, we're sitting third in the Atlantic. Oh, Max, how spicy do I want to get right now? Do you want to get spicy?
Well, look, I mean, it's what we said yesterday. It's a tale of two teams. I mean, you can get as spicy as you want, but you'll be equal parts right and wrong because you have a team that takes down top 10 teams, done it multiple times this year,
and then loses to
bottom
unranked
100 teams.
Yeah,
right.
And that's why. Look, in light of the kind of pitching staff that this team has, and there's enough bats there. If this team fails to make a super, I don't think there's any chance that Mike Martin Jr. gets fired. But I don't know what's more of a fireable offense than having that level of pitching talent and just blowing it to the point where you don't make a super. So this, I mean, we just about always make a super regional. If this year is an exception to that, something's got to change. Something big's got to change, because like before it was this team can't win the whole thing. Well, if it becomes with even better pitching, this team can't make a super, that's a problem, man. And we're sitting in a spot right now where we absolutely can do that. This is a team that could still make it to Omaha. We have the pitching to do it. We got arguably the best pitching in the country. So show me something. Show me something, Mike Martin Jr.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the deal. This team has won 9 of their last 12. If they win tonight, they'll have won 10 of their last 13.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like that they lost to Stetson and DeLand. But I can also understand, look, again, last night the theme was sort of humanizing these folks and saying that they're not robots. They have things going on. It was the middle of whatever month we're in, April, and they had to go to DeLand, Florida. I don't know if you've ever been to DeLand, Florida.
No one has. Legend has it, by the way.
Yeah, no one's been there. But the people who have, trust me, that you'll know because they left very quickly, and they'll tell you that they aren't there anymore because they're so happy to not be there. So
isn't Chipper Jones from there though?
I don't know. I know one kid from my high school went there. He was super weird.
Sure.
Yeah, he was really good at wrestling and just a total oddball. So
okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so they went to DeLand, Florida, and they lost the game to Stetson. Okay. And not including that game, they've won 10 out of 12. So it's like, or 10 out of 11, sorry. Should take one off of each. And 9 out of 11. I can do math, folks. Jeez, Max. They've won 9 out of 11, and right now they're tied with Florida in the bottom of the 5th inning. So it's like, okay, now's the time to come alive, and they got to carry it through. But I think that Mike Martin Jr., as frustrating as it is because he feels like the safe hire,
yeah,
you have to look at what this team is good at and what they're bad at. And I don't think he's what they're bad at because, yeah, the hitting hasn't been amazing. But when we've needed bats to come alive, we have. In fact, the one thing about this team I've been so impressed by, and I'd love to see a statistic on this, is the number of times it feels like we're losing in the 7th and we either win it or we at least take it to extras and lose. We are pretty good at getting hits when we need to. And for the most part, it's his son that does it. And he was a hitting coach.
Yeah.
And the problem is you have, like you said, maybe your best pitching staff ever, but you have 2 guys that are really good. And then you got a 3, 4, and 5 that are about like the same as, you're typically used to at FSU, albeit a team that makes the supers a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. The thing about this team that's odd to me is it's kind of a parallel to FSU basketball, where this team gets in those streaks where they'll go without scoring for, half a quarter, or in this case, like 5 innings. And it's like, how the hell did that happen? And they're gonna need to get hot at the right time. Like, obviously good that towards the end of the season now they got a nice little streak going, but obviously it's easy to say you're gonna have to keep that up. But yeah, I have such high expectations for this team. It sounds negative what I've been saying. I don't mean to. I really don't. I have such high hopes for this team. This makes sense as a team that would finally, with this level of pitching, if you have ace pitchers, you can shut down any teams on any given day. That's how you win big series. That's how you win a College World Series. This team can do it. Just come on, Mike Martin. Just make the right calls.
I'm curious to know what the big baseball fans think about the statement I'm going to make. And maybe it's too deferential to the coaches. But to me, baseball is a sport where you almost have to credit the coaches when the team does well. But if they haven't materially changed much, they kind of get to avoid a lot of the blame when the team doesn't do well. And what I mean is he's proven he's taught the team how to hit. He's proven he's assembled the right lineup in recruiting. And he's proven that they can do the little things required, which has always been my complaint about Florida State baseball, to when they're down by 2 in the 7th, work their way back by the 9th. So if the team's bats just don't come alive, at a certain point, it's not like football where he's calling the play. I mean, you're calling base running, but he can't hit for him. So if like Robbie Martin goes out there, or Tyler Martin, and, in the regional decides to go 0 for 7 across 2 games, it's like, it would very much depend on how they lose. Now, if he does something where he says, okay, I'm going to try to save my Friday guy's arm for a potential Sunday, and gets upset by whatever random, whatever conference.
Middle Tennessee.
Like whoever, we always end up playing some team from like tiny 1 AAA, but in baseball, they're D1. And you get upset by them because you made a stupid pitching decision and that gets you knocked out. That's his fault. But he's proven to me he's built a winning roster. It's just like, how are they going to play?
Yep.
And how's it going to look? And what's the result going to be, right?
Yeah, this team right now, I think, is better than their current record, which, again, is third in the Atlantic. This is a team, talent-wise, that I think could be leading the Atlantic or the ACC. Like, we've beat up on Miami pretty good. This is going to be a season that's one of two things: either extreme frustration or the elation that fans have been missing from this team for a while. And I don't want to say it's World Series or bust, but doesn't it feel like that every year with this team, considering how many we've made and have never won?
I mean, look, it's hard with baseball. I don't want to sound like I'm belittling baseball, but it's hard to feel any other way about baseball. Like, I'm not going to get excited about another super regional banner.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't go to Florida State anymore. Like, I don't get to go to the games when they make the regionals and when they host a super regional and have fun. Like, I really don't care unless they go to Omaha. I mean, I care, but in the sense that I won't be impressed by anything less than Omaha. So anyway, exciting stuff for baseball. And I want to get to the topic du jour, the topic that is always jour. I don't know.
Football. Is it Built Bar? No, football.
Football next. We got a couple things to talk about in the football stuff. California is out there making laws, getting kids money. I mean, it's in the legislature, but whatever. Tyson Fomichan has decided to transfer to a conference opponent who we're actually going to have to play this year. Phommachanh, if you don't know the name, he was a 4-star recruit, 91 overall, 91.5, something like that, according to 247. Went to Clemson, left Clemson, is now at a conference opponent who I will talk about in a moment. But first, let me tell the folks about Built Bar.
Yeah.
It's Built Bar time. I mean, every time's Built Bar time, right?
They sent me a free box of birthday cake.
Built Bar time is any time, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, whether you've worked out, whether you haven't worked out, whether you've gone to the gym, whether you haven't gone to the gym. And you may say, Max, aren't those two things the same thing? And I say, you've clearly never gone to the gym just to try to motivate yourself and then ended up sitting in the sauna for 30 minutes because you're too lazy to work out, feeling even worse about yourself than when you walked in. Mm-hmm. But Built Bar's got you. It'll never make you feel bad because it's got 17 grams of protein. It's got 5 grams of sugar, 5 grams of carbs. So even if you didn't make the best decisions about exercise, at least you're making a good decision about your diet. And that's what it's all about. Diet and exercise. Complementary. So go to Built.com and use promo code LOCKED15. LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. Built.com, promo code LOCKED15.
Just remember, the Built Bar will not make fun of you.
But it will judge you when you come home with McDonald's. It'll sit there judging you on your counter. All right, man, I'm glad we got to cover the diamond, but let's cover the gridiron. It's everyone's favorite.
Yep.
It's your favorite. It's my favorite. It's everyone's favorite.
Always
Folks,
easy.
we are Max. We are Dave. We are Locked On Seminoles. And collectively, you can find us two and Drake on Twitter at Noles Anonymous. We need to tweet more. We'll get better at it.
We do need to.
During the season, we'll tweet a lot. It's mostly just like, well,
we killed the gift game.
Reactions.
We killed the gift game back in the day.
Yeah, and then a lot of behind the scenes texting, like who texted? Who was that? Who?
Yep.
Come on, guys. So anyway,
yeah.
Let's talk about football. So we have seen Tyson Phommachanh, 4-star quarterback, highly unremarkable career at Clemson, has decided to go to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. So Tyson Fomichan was originally considering Florida State. He's from Connecticut, which is, as everybody knows, a huge football state. Everybody there plays football or knows somebody who does.
Hernandez.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying he was from Connecticut.
Look, he did. You were right when you said unremarkable. I mean, if you look at the stats, his career at Clemson was less of a career than like a pit stop. He got hurt though. He tore his Achilles and came back from that awful fast. I haven't torn an Achilles, but Kobe Bryant had, and I don't think he came back from it as quickly as Tyson Fomichan did, which is crazy. So the kid's athletic. If you watch his high school film, he's talented as hell. He's better than Jeff Sims, who I'm still salty about, even though he wouldn't play much here. Still, I don't like the trade we made for old Tate, but he could start for Georgia Tech. We could end up playing against him, and I think that would make Georgia Tech a more difficult opponent than Jeff Sims would.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see, but I'm going to look at the evidence here, right? And I'll take your job for a day. Everyone in the country, except for 10 teams, let's say, maybe 12 teams, kind of needs a quarterback. He should have been able to go wherever he wanted. Now, if that's not enough, I understand he got hurt, but he also did come back from the injury. And he couldn't beat out DJ Uiagalelei, who, I get it, he's got potential, but he was statistically, by both unadvanced and advanced metrics last year, one of the worst quarterbacks in the conference, and highly, and I mean highly, in danger of being one of the worst in the country if it wasn't for the opponent adjustment he got from getting to play Georgia in the first game of the season and not completely sucking in that game.
Yeah, it was just,
you can't beat him out and then you end up at Georgia Tech. I wonder, you know what I mean? It's like follow, they say follow the money. Well, in this case, follow who started over him and follow where he ended up at school.
It's just it's one of those things where I have to believe Clemson's staff saw things that we didn't, in practice. And I hate the whole practice MVP thing, but he started at some point, or he got in the game over DJU at some points, not based on DJU being injured or his helmet coming off. They decided this kid might give us a better chance to win than our 5-star next coming of Trevor Lawrence, DJ Uiagalelei. And it didn't happen that way, but they must have seen something from Tyson Fomichan that made them think he could keep the Clemson machine going.
So I think you're looking at the opposite way. I think it was just, it literally cannot get worse at this point.
Than what DJ
Let's see what we've got. Yeah, you look at his stats, right? It's not even really fair to say he started over, took the field over DJ. So he played against Pitt, 3 of 7, 23 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, it looks like.
I don't know that he ever threw for a touchdown. I know he ran for one.
Yeah, he had 1 touchdown, 1 pick in the season last season. Then he played against South Carolina State, 7 of 10. Okay, cool. Threw for 140. No, that's not right. 7 of 10 for 75 yards. It's kind of a bizarre stat line.
That's Clemson football last year.
So yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying. He's probably better than Jeff Sims, but by how much?
It doesn't make the schedule easier. Can we agree on that?
Sure.
Georgia Tech is certainly no worse off for having him on the roster. We play Georgia Tech. That's supposed to be a cupcake game for us. Nothing is at this point. And anything that gives one of the weaker teams on our schedule more talent, I don't know. Maybe he just goes out there and just has the game of his life and picks off where he left off in high school. And I just, would that not kill you to see a guy leave Clemson, come here and continue to kill us?
You always do this where it's what would you do if a meteor started falling from the sky? I'd cross that bridge when I came to it, Dave. Could it happen? Sure. But again, it's me worrying about it. My reaction is going to be a meteor is going to come from the sky and kill all of us. Same thing when we lost to Jacksonville State. There's nothing I can do about it. I just had to sit there in misery. But
I want a backup quarterback, Max. I want a backup quarterback.
I get it. I will say that was my one source of disappointment was he's going to Georgia Tech. We couldn't have angled for him, but he probably wants the playing time, I would assume. But let's do this. Let's talk about the schedule. Okay. Because we're on this Georgia Tech train. We've decided the schedule isn't getting easier. I'd like to talk about how we feel about it today on 5/17/2022.
It's that time.
It is that time. We like to do this periodically, bi-weekly, monthly, something like that. And before we do that, though, I want to tell you all about something you should always assume, and that's that when you need a car part, Rock Auto is going to be there for you, and they're going to have it delivered to you quickly and at a low price. It'll be easy to find on their website. It will get to you ASAP. And with the help of YouTube and some tools, you can make your own car repairs. You'll save some money. You won't spend an arm and a leg at the dealership, and you'll be all the better for it. So go to rockauto.com, and when they ask, how did you hear about them? Just tell them Max from Locked On sent you. Or tell them Dave. Or Drake. Or really anyone. Just put Locked On in there.
Yeah, just say
Probably what they're doing is just searching by keyword. So tell them Locked On sent you. rockauto.com. Folks, we appreciate you rocking and rolling with us every single day, 5 days a week. I'm Max, that's Dave, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. But Dave, we promised the people a schedule preview. Let's give the people a schedule preview. But first, not going to be an ad or anything, but I want to document our assumptions. What do you feel like we know now that maybe you feel like we didn't know, or maybe you have some more clarity on since the last time we did a schedule prediction?
I think I know. I think I feel more confident about the defense as a whole. I think I went into my last predictions thinking that the defense would be the strength of the team, though like a cautious optimism, especially after how last year started and how periods of the year went where it seemed like it just didn't play defense. That got better as the year went on, and I suspected that would carry over. I feel confident that that's going to be the case.
Kick us off. We know it's pronounced Duquesne. We know it's located in Pittsburgh, but here
It is.
Yeah, yes, it's in Pittsburgh. It's Duquesne. Here in this podcast, in this talk show, in this YouTube show, wherever you're watching it, into the sixth inning, tied 5-5, Florida State and Florida baseball. We like to say David Duquesne's.
Yes,
because it's funny.
And that's who they are. If we lose that game, I'm a Syracuse booster. That's the last thing I'm saying. Yep.
Go Panthers, Georgia State. But yeah, no, I agree. We're going to win that one. So then we get to the LSU game. Now, we did a breakdown on LSU a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And next week, we're going to have the host of Locked On Tigers on the show, and she will help us do some breakdown there. So we don't need to spend too much time on this, but I think but we've been the team that's like more talented than everyone. Oh, our talent will carry us through. And we've watched those teams lose 5 games. We've watched those teams lose 6 games. We've watched those teams lose 7 games. And we have even watched those teams lose to every embarrassing opponent you could name. Now, except Jacksonville State, it took us losing the talent to do that. But this argument that LSU has all this talent, great. You're the most talented team to lose 11 games in the past 2 years. Congratulations.
Long and short. Win or loss.
To win.
Yes, it's a win.
I think that's a game you win. I think
it's a win.
All the intangibles you're building up. Brian Kelly's a parachute. He may eventually, land them softly on the ground and get back in another plane and take off. But he is there as a paramedic to stop the bleeding. Like, Brian Kelly is not Jimbo Fisher at A&M, where they're like, we could do better. Or Kirby Smart at Georgia, where it's like, we're doing pretty well. We're not where we want to be. Let's see if we can do better. He is a freaking, what's it called? I almost said a corset. He's a tourniquet. They are trying to stop the bleeding. And make no mistake, LSU is hemorrhaging.
Win. Next.
Get fired up.
All right, let me do this.
College.
Just let me do
Wake
this.
Forest.
Just
NC State. How you feeling about that?
Okay. That stretch. There is no scenario where we beat Louisville. I'm so serious about that. Malik Cunningham is going to be cemented into the Hall of Fame after that game. We always have this habit of doing this at Louisville quarterbacks, and he is the best quarterback in the ACC. It's hilarious to me when I see lists that don't include him in the top 5 of the conference. He's the best quarterback we're going to play this year. And I don't love, even if our defense is better, just don't love that matchup. So, I mean, that's a 2-1 thing. We're probably going to lose to one of Boston College or Wake. I mean, good God, I got to beat Wake. I would rather beat Wake and lose to Boston College. I just hate that team. It's like their little adorable story. Clemson and NC State split one of those two, leaving us, 4-2 after that stretch in my book?
Get to Clemson next. I wanted Clemson to be its own, but yeah, no, that's fair. I'm going to flip with you on there. I do think we could beat Louisville. I think NC State's your problem. I think Devin Leary is top To me, there's 3 top QBs in the ACC, and they're 3 top QBs for different reasons. But it's Malik Cunningham at Louisville. It is Devin Leary at NC State, and it is our guy down.
Don't say Tyler Van Spike.
I know. I don't even want to say his name.
He's not good.
But I think those are your 3 best quarterbacks in the ACC. I think that Devin Leary is your most mistake-proof quarterback. I think that Malik Cunningham has your most big, but like highest ceiling because he could throw for 350 on you and then run for another 200 on you if you're not careful. Ran for 1,000 last year. And then I think that Tyler Van Dyke is all around overall probably the best potential-wise quarterback in the ACC, and to me, he projects the best of the NFL. So I think you again go 1-1 between Louisville and NC State. But to me, it's you beating Louisville and it's losing to NC State because I think that Louisville is a game where you can capitalize on some mistakes, and NC State does not make mistakes. And it's a lot harder to play in Carter Finley than it is to play in Cardinal Stadium, formerly Papa John Stadium.
Yeah, so
Boston College. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say
you think we beat them both?
I gotta give us 2-0 there because, I mean, I wish I could pull up my rant, but I don't. I mean, Phil Jerkovich is tall. I get it, but he's never shown it. Like he's shown potential, but he hasn't really shown how great he'll be. I don't know what weapons they have at the skill positions. They're really going to challenge you that much.
You know what it is? It's the should win games haven't been wins, and until the should win games are wins, I'm not going to expect them all to be.
Yeah, but I think you can make it through that stretch at 3-1, but also 2-2. I mean, I don't. It's such a homer pick to say 3-1.
I'm 4-3 after Clemson. That's where I am.
Yeah. So at that point, we've got us at what? Duquesne, LSU, Louisville.
You got us 5-2.
I guess like 4-3, 5-2.
Yeah.
So
right.
I think we're both around this. I mean, let me put it this way: if going into the bye week we are 4-3 or 5-2, I don't think I'll feel any more frustrated or any less optimistic about the back half of the season.
Agreed.
If you're 3-4, I'm going to feel pretty awful. If you're 6-1, I'm probably buying tickets to the rest of the games, and we're going to be elite lying. I mean, so the lies will be of the most elite caliber.
Yep.
But then we have the show. So then we play Georgia Tech at home. I'm not going to entertain this. I don't care.
That's a win.
You have to win that one.
Yeah.
You have to beat Syracuse. You have to beat Louisiana. Those 2 games have to be wins.
You're 7-3 or 8-2 after with those games taken into account. You have to be
right. So with Miami and Florida still not obviously it won't because of the time we get that you play Syracuse and Lafayette after folks. We realize how time works. It's
not linear.
Like a circle,
It's a square circle.
Right, but the point is, we've got us at 7 or 8 wins, and now we got to splice in Miami and Florida. I have Dave Weiss syndrome where I want to say you go 1-1, but part of me is like, I can't believe that this team would win 9 games yet.
I know.
I've got to see them do it. But in those 2 games, I think you have to go 1-1. I think you're more likely to beat Florida than Miami this year because you get them at home. Yeah, I'll say this is the Florida. This year's the reverse of last year. It's a scrappy close one with Florida where you win, and I think it's a scrappy close one with Miami where you lose.
And that's okay. That puts you at 8 wins,
9 wins,
and 8-9 wins, and that means if you slip up another game, you're 7-5. And if that's a worst case scenario for this team, you are happy coming off 11 years of bowlless, meaningless seasons.
Let's play a quick lightning round game. So you've got us at, let's say 7 wins, right? So let's say you're at 7. What's more likely, 8 or 6?
6.
What's more likely, 9 or 5?
5.
10 or 4?
4.
Jordan Travis stays healthy. What's more likely, 10 or 4?
10.
Okay. I like that.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What's our record if Jordan Travis tears his ACL first snap of the season?
How many games are there?
12. Let's do it.
Realistically, no Jordan Travis.
Yes. Okay. Tears his ACL first snap of the season.
So like a DeAndre Francois situation.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. Okay.
Except first snap, not first half of the game.
But yeah. So, oh gosh. All right. I'll go Lightning. You beat Duquesne. They're not that. I mean, you definitely lose to LSU. You definitely lose to Louisville. You definitely lose to Boston. You might be able to beat Boston College with your running.
Who are you
game
beating? Just pick out the wins. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could still beat Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Louisiana, and Duquesne. And I think that your defense and your running game, maybe you get lucky against one more. But yeah, 5 wins is your ceiling without Jordan Travis. I mean, your absolute ceiling. Like that is everything else goes right.
Last lightning round question then from me. Jordan Travis doesn't miss a snap the whole year. What's our record?
Doesn't miss a snap?
Not one snap.
Plays whatever that would be, like 400 snaps.
Yep. Every snap. Just like Jameis. When he wasn't suspended.
Give me a percentage. How healthy is the O-line? Just ballpark that for me.
80%.
You win 10 games. Yeah.
I say 9.
That's probably a 10-win season. Assuming no major injuries on defense.
Yeah, that's much better than we were feeling last time around. How about that? When I say 4 is more likely than 10, I only say that because I don't want to delude myself, but
because it's that key critical component of the question. If Jordan Travis gets hurt, which is a very realistic possibility, I don't have a magic wand. I can't make him not get hurt. So yeah, you're right. It's funny because we are like on a knife's edge, teetering between riches and squalor. There is no. It's like that is the linchpin that's going to hold this whole team together. Because we don't have a viable backup in Tate Rodemaker. We have Geno English behind him, I think. I mean, I don't know what we do if Tate Rodemaker throws 4 picks in the same game. You literally just have to watch it like a car crash.
If you think we talk about this too much, do this exercise for yourself and see when Jordan Travis was out of the games last year and take into account who our backups are and Tubba Birdie's not here anymore, whether you liked him or not. A.J. Dovey's a true freshman. If Jordan Travis goes down, you're going to need everything else to go right. And everything hasn't gone right here for a while. So I hope it does. It can. But this is why we preach that a backup quarterback should have been brought in.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, the reality is Jordan Travis took 194 passes, and Mackenzie Milton threw 139. So there was a lot of time split.
Yep.
Jordan Travis also took 179 yards in sacks. Probably part of why Mackenzie Milton took 139. And then you have the unfortunate luck of what game was it? NC State maybe, where he got the flu. And it's like,
yeah, of
course.
Yep.
But hey, I think the fact that we can find 7 wins on this schedule makes me feel a lot better about the season. The fact that it's not 10 is high. Like, to me, 10 wins is, I don't know, you have like a 6% chance of doing that. I'm not saying it's a high likelihood.
I know.
But I think you have like a 3% chance of winning 4. So.
I think you and a lot of other people probably think I'm the most negative here. I was 6, now I'm 7. So 7 wins, that's a huge step up from where we were and where I've been, pessimistically speaking.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, look, we got to play the games, and we're going to see what happens. And we could get absolutely stomped by LSU, or look, the way this team's gone, they're gonna mirror themselves after our baseball or our basketball team, and they're just gonna like get killed by some team and then beat some other. But I do think there is going to be one game on the schedule that we're thinking is a loss, and they're going to like UNC it, and they're just everything's going to click. We're going to look perfect. It's all going to go right.
Yep.
You're going to be like, how did that team do that to that team? And then they're going to go out 2 weeks later, and you're going to be like, oh, well, that happens.
Yep,
but
lost to Stetson.
Yeah, anyway, that is enough of that, folks. We appreciate you spending your mornings, your evenings, and your afternoons with us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications. Make sure you tell us how pretty we are down in the comments. We appreciate you being here. It lets us do what we do. And we like doing what we do, and we hope you do too. This was Locked On Seminoles. I'm your host, Max. That was Dave, and we will see you tomorrow.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
No question mark?
Me? All right.